Welcome back to Supremely Black Podcast. This is your host, D. Rose. Now, we're coming back to cover the Darryl George story. He has been suspended again. We previously covered this story late September, early October, and now we're here to speak about it again, right? So with the Crown Act that has been put into place is to create a respectful and open world for natural hair. So that's regardless of ethnicity, you have the flexibility to be free with your hair. Now that we are here again with Mr. George, he is here to tell an even in-depth story in regards to what he's actually been going through and what he's feeling. I want you guys to let me know what you think in regards to this. Check it out.
In Texas, hair has defined his junior year of high school.
How has this all felt for you?
It's very stressful. I'm trying to maintain being a student while also having to deal with this.
The 18-year-old has now been suspended twice over his hairstyle at Barbers Hill High School, most recently in early December. The first time was back in August, when school officials said George's braided locks fell below his eyebrows and earlobes, which violated the school district's dress code for boys.
Why should I cut my hair for my education? My hair has nothing to do with my education.
George was put in a disciplinary off-campus education program, and when he returned to school with his style intact, he was suspended again. The family filing a federal civil rights lawsuit against Texas Governor Greg Abbott and the state's attorney general in September, alleging that George's suspension violates the Crown Act, a Texas state law that took effect September 1st, prohibiting race-based discrimination, banning employers and schools from penalizing people because of their hair texture or protective styles, such as afros, twists, or dreadlocks. At least 24 states have their own version of the law, according to the think tank the Economic Policy Institute. Much of that legislation following high-profile incidents of alleged hair discrimination against African Americans.
We're alleging that the grooming code of Barbers Hill ISD is unconstitutional. The law says whether or not you intend to target a specific protected class, if the end result is that only the protected class is affected, is discriminatory.
George's attorney says the district is engaging in a discriminatory pattern since back in 2020, two other students, both black teens, were also suspended for their hairstyles. In response, the Barbers Hill School District tells NBC News in part the claim is false, saying it has many African American students who wear dreadlocks and other similar protected hairstyles and comply with the district's length policy. We have one who does not. The superintendent adding that there are some African American students with religious exemptions for hair length, but, quote, we do not have an exception for I don't want to follow the rules. The superintendent also calling the lawsuit baseless and filing a lawsuit to clarify that the Crown Act does not address length or any other student expression, but instead protects the right to wear braids. Texas governors and attorney general's offices did not respond to our request for comment. As for Darryl George, his attorney says this legal battle has taken its toll. She requested a temporary injunction so George can return to school.
I feel like I ain't going nowhere with it. As of right now, no.
His family representative telling us many have encouraged the teenager to cut his hair and let the case go.
Darryl has hair that's woven in his head from his grandfather and from other ancestors. And this is how he is connected to his people.
What does your hair and your hairstyle mean to you?
It just means a lot to me. It made me feel more closer to my people. Being without my hair is like cutting me from my people, not letting me, express myself how I feel I should be.
All right, Zinkley joining us now. Zinkley, we hear this whole conversation around length versus braids. What exactly is the Crown Act, and where do we stand right now in any broader legislation on the federal level?
Yeah, Sam, good to see you. So the Crown Act is an acronym that stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. Of course, crown is also a term often used to refer to hair itself. And this legislation is particularly significant for the black community as there are a variety of natural hairstyles many African Americans use interchangeably. Even on this show, I've showed up to work with short curly hair and long braids. Now, as I mentioned, and as you asked, 24 states have their own version of the Crown Act, but there was a federal version of the act introduced in Congress in 2021 that passed in the House but was blocked by Senate Republicans. So right now there is no federal Crown Act to date. But Sam, an interesting note to end on here. Darryl George's team tells me that the teenager's initial suspension actually came just before the Crown Act passed in Texas. So this is a story we're definitely going to keep following. Sam?
Yeah, for sure. And we'll see what happens on the national level too. Zinkley, thank you so much.
All right, so here's my final take on this story for right now, and especially I want to see how this actually goes when it goes to the national level. Now, there's going to always be rules in place and things of that nature. If you see the way that his hair is in this particular video, it doesn't look like it's past the limits of what the school is actually asking for to be quote unquote within dress code, right? But let's just take this a little further. If you have a student, or even regardless of any ethnicity, I would think that it would be important that if it's not something that's causing a distraction, allow the kid to go to school and get an education, right? If we break it down even further, with this being in Texas, you have an African-American student that is not struggling in school, not creating a dangerous environment, is wanting to learn from what has been presented, has pretty good grades. There is black students on an average that is reading on a second grade proficiency level across the state. This is something that was brought to our attention. A lot of people may not like what Charleston White says, but he has provided a lot of information as what's going on. Dropouts and graduation rates are lower than they have ever been across the state. So I just think these type of situations deserve this type of attention, because you never know of how you could actually stray a kid from saying, okay, I just give up. Because if you look at his hair, I have seen people with locks and they could be everywhere with wigs, and they got like the Florida style and it's all looking rugged. This young brother looks very clean cut in regards to him just having locks, and he has a story behind it. So this type of thing, I want to know of how it is on the national level and how they come out with it. Because to me, I just think that it's a little petty to be trying to be so, just a stickler about a hairstyle that you just may not agree with when it's not past his hair, regardless if it's wrapped up, it's not below his shoulders, it's not violating your dress code. Just from my thoughts, let me know what you all think. I'm out. Long live CC.